Don't forget to like and subscribe for more interesting and educational financial stories. Have you ever heard the saying, "Don't judge a book by its cover"? What if I told you that a man who spent his life pumping gas, fixing cars, and working as a janitor secretly built an $8 million fortune? This isn't a fairy tale. This is the real-life story of Ronald Read, an ordinary man who shocked the world when his will was revealed in 2014. He didn't win the lottery. He didn't invent an app. He didn't have a high-paying job. Yet he died a multi-millionaire. So how did he do it? When you picture a millionaire, what do you see? Expensive suits, luxury cars, private jets. Most of us think rich people drive Ferraris and wear Rolex watches. But what if everything we think we know about wealth is completely wrong? What if the person sitting next to you on the bus is actually wealthier than that flashy entrepreneur posting about their success on social media? Ronald's story will blow your mind and change how you think about money forever. Ronald James Read was born on October 23, 1921, in a small town in Vermont. His family was poor, really poor. They lived on a farm where every penny counted. New clothes? Forget about it. Going to restaurants? Never happened. Ronald wore the same pair of shoes until they had holes, then stuffed newspaper inside to keep his feet dry. But here's the thing, Ronald wasn't a genius. He wasn't born into wealth. He didn't have special opportunities. In fact, he was the first person in his family to even graduate high school, and that was a struggle. After school, Ronald got a job at a gas station. Picture this, a young man in worn work clothes, pumping gas, fixing cars, changing tires. The kind of job where people say, "You'll never get rich doing that." The pay was terrible, the work was dirty, and nobody respected it. Later, he became a janitor at J.C. Penney, sweeping floors, cleaning bathrooms, emptying trash cans. If working at a gas station seemed unglamorous, being a janitor was even worse. This was the kind of work society looks down on, essential but invisible. To everyone around him, Ronald looked like just another blue-collar worker. He wore old flannel shirts for years, patching them when they got holes instead of buying new ones. He drove a beat-up car that he fixed himself. He was quiet, polite, and never showed off. But here's where the story gets interesting. Behind this humble life, Ronald was making secret choices that would quietly turn him into a millionaire. For decades, and I mean decades, nobody suspected Ronald had money, not even his closest friends. He lived so simply that people thought he was just getting by. He never ate at fancy restaurants. He cut his own firewood well into his 90s. He would park far away to avoid paying parking fees, walking extra blocks to save 50 cents. People in town called him that old janitor or the guy who used to fix cars. Nice enough, but nothing special. If you asked his neighbors to guess how much money he had, they might have said a few $1,000s saved for retirement. Then in 2014, Ronald died at age 92, and that's when the bombshell dropped. When his will was read, everyone's jaws hit the floor. This humble janitor had left behind $8 million. $8 million. The local newspaper put it on the front page. People gathered in coffee shops, completely stunned. A janitor? $8 million? How is that even possible? Here's the crazy part. $2 million went to his stepchildren. But $6 million, $6 million, went to the local library and hospital. The entire community was in shock. So how did he do it? The answer is surprisingly simple, but most people will never have the discipline to pull it off. Ronald discovered 3 money secrets that anyone can use, but almost nobody does. Secret number 1, he lived way below his means. While everyone else was spending their paychecks on stuff they didn't need, Ronald was thinking differently. No expensive clothes that go out of style. No fancy cars that lose value the moment you drive them off the lot. No big house with huge mortgage payments. Ronald made a choice to live modestly. When his shirts got holes, he patched them. When his car broke down, he fixed it himself. Every dollar he didn't spend on unnecessary stuff was a dollar he could invest in his future. Secret number 2, he saved money every single month, no matter what. This sounds obvious, but here's the key: consistency. It's easy to save money when you get a bonus or when times are good. But Ronald saved money every month, every year, for decades. Even when his paycheck was tiny, he treated savings like a bill that had to be paid. He didn't wait for a raise to start saving. He didn't say he'd start next year when things got better. He started immediately and never stopped. Secret number 3, and this is the big one, he invested wisely and let compound interest work its magic. Ronald didn't just stuff money under his mattress. He bought stocks in solid companies like AT&T, General Electric, and Procter and Gamble. These weren't exciting tech companies or risky investments. They were boring, stable companies that had been profitable for decades. Here's the genius part. When these companies paid dividends, most people take the cash and spend it. But Ronald, he used those dividend payments to buy more shares. More shares meant more dividends. More dividends meant even more shares. This created a snowball effect that grew bigger and bigger over time. Let me show you how powerful this is. Let's say Ronald owned 100 shares of a company paying 3% dividends. After 1 year, he could buy 3 more shares with the dividend money. Now he had 103 shares. The next year, those 103 shares generated even more dividends, letting him buy even more shares. And on it went. This is called compound interest, and Albert Einstein supposedly called it the 8th wonder of the world. Here's a mind-blowing example. If Ronald had invested just $100 per month starting at age 25, and his investments averaged 10% returns per year, by age 90, he would have over $6 million, just from $100 a month. But Ronald probably invested more than that, especially as he got older and his income increased. Over 40-plus years, his modest investments turned into millions. The crazy thing is, Ronald could have lived like a millionaire for decades before he died. He had enough money to buy expensive cars, live in a mansion, take luxury vacations. But he chose not to. Why? Because he found happiness in simple things. He enjoyed chopping wood to heat his home. He liked reading the newspaper at the local diner. He preferred chatting with neighbors to showing off his wealth. He understood something most rich people never learn. Happiness doesn't come from what you own, but from how you choose to live. The people who knew Ronald said his greatest joy was helping others. That's why he left most of his fortune to the library and hospital. To him, money wasn't about buying fancy stuff. It was about leaving a legacy and helping his community. So what can we learn from Ronald's incredible story? Lesson 1, you don't need a huge income to get rich. Ronald proved that wealth isn't about how much you make, it's about how much you keep and invest. Someone earning $40,000 who saves 20% is in better shape than someone earning $100,000 who saves nothing. Lesson 2, being frugal gives you freedom. Our culture says spending money is freedom, but Ronald knew the opposite was true. Every dollar you don't waste on stuff you don't need is a dollar you can invest in your future. Every monthly payment you avoid gives you more flexibility and options. Lesson 3, simple investing works. You don't need to be a financial genius. Ronald bought solid companies and held them for decades. He didn't try to time the market or chase trends. He just invested in companies that would always be needed and let time do the work. Lesson 4, patience beats luck every time. We all want to get rich quick, but Ronald's story proves that slow and steady wins. His wealth took decades to build. No lottery tickets, no get-rich-quick schemes, just consistent investing over many, many years. Lesson 5, your legacy matters more than luxury. The fancy cars and expensive watches Ronald never bought wouldn't have helped anyone after his death. But his donations to the library and hospital will benefit people for generations. Ronald's story also teaches us something important about judging people. We live in a world of social media where everyone shows off their supposed success. But the flashy entrepreneur posting photos of sports cars might be broke, while your quiet neighbor might be worth millions. True wealth is often invisible because truly wealthy people know the goal isn't to look rich, it's to actually be rich. Here's another important point. Ronald's story challenges how we think about work and dignity. Society often judges people by their job titles. We respect doctors and lawyers, but look down on janitors. But Ronald proved that your worth isn't determined by your job. It's determined by your character and how you treat others. Ronald approached every job with pride and professionalism. His wealth wasn't built despite his humble jobs. It was built because of the character traits that made him good at those jobs: reliability, consistency, and showing up every day. The most amazing thing about Ronald's story, his approach to wealth building is available to everyone. You don't need special skills or lucky breaks. You just need to start where you are and begin making the same choices Ronald made. Live below your means, save consistently, invest in solid companies, be patient, focus on what really matters. Remember, the goal isn't to look wealthy, it's to actually be wealthy. And sometimes the richest people are the ones you'd never suspect. They're the ones who live simply, think L. Thanks for watching this amazing video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel